folks, man? This is Dave Loves Comics, man, and I gotta go ahead and just throw a little review out here, man, of the No Way Home trailer. I won't even say review of it. I didn't like the trailer, and I don't like the premise of the film, and I don't like all those characters in one film. But that's just me. But I don't want to take nothing away from people who enjoyed it and very excited about it. But the curious question is that the buzz of the film, everyone is excited about everything but Spider-Man, Tom Holland. And I say that because the buzz of these characters, Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, laugh, and it's great to see them really put in the film. But I think the underlying thing that I think a lot of people was not, a lot of people was not pleased at Marvel's taking of vision of Spider-Man. And if I was Tom Holland, I would kind of sit down and go like, let me think about that. Because if the excitement is more Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield than yourself, I mean, then, you're supposed to be the Spider-Man in this timeline. And I only say that because truly, the Tobey Maguire situation, Tobey Maguire did Spider-Man 3, and that was horrible. And I think that he had plans to do Vulture and Black Cat and Sam Raimi. And Sony took it away. It's like, you know what? You're taking too long. We're not going to work on that. So I think people think we have one more great film for Tobey Maguire. There was a big campaign to just, can we do Spider-Man 4 as a graphic novel or even animated? Then it went for Andrew Garfield, 2 films. Andrew Garfield, great actor. This is his year. He's got a whole bunch of other projects besides Spider-Man. And if he's going to be, in the film, Tammy Faye and Baker and the guy from Ren, a lot of them he's worked with Martin Scorsese. I mean, he's doing it all. But then again, he was ceremoniously dumped. He was in the Stiff movie that was trying to do a Christopher Nolan vibe. They tried to lighten up the second film midstream, and then someone along the line, they had him and Sony had a disagreement, and he was gone. But remember, Spider-Man 2 ended the child in the middle of the street with the rhino. They did the Gwen Stacy. The death of it was painful, and the ending was moving. I mean, no one cannot say that. But then, even at the end, they had a silly Green Goblin, but the promise of Rhino. They had Dr. Octopus, his weapons out there. They had Vulture. They had Electro still around Jamie Foxx. And so people think like, we was finna get a Sinister Six. I mean, at least Marvel could have said, well, let's do Spider-Man 3. Let them go ahead and do Spider-Man 3, and then let's connect them into our world, and then we'll restart it. But, tempers was flared and it was ended. So I think people think these two guys need some closure in their characters. And I think that people see that. I think people respect both of those actors. And I think that Tom Holland, 5 times he's been Spider-Man, Civil War, 2 Avengers films, his 2 solo films. He's either Tony Stark's sidekicks, and, he is, that's become his Uncle Ben and sharing with Otherworld and Nick Fury. And that's all, but I don't think we've got a pure Spider-Man film since Spider-Man 2 with Sam Raimi. So I'm looking at, I think that most of the excitement is they get some type of closure. To me, that's not, by looking at the trailer, Doctor Strange, he makes a wish. It's a famous storyline of comics, One More Day. He, but it was to the devil. He made a wish that everyone forget, his identity. And, multi-universe. And, because of that, it opens up the doors. Now, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and I'm not a philosopher, but I can tell you, multi-universe, going there for different branches. If I walk in a coffee shop tomorrow and I order a bagel and I can glance and maybe I would have met my wife there. If I take a branch, if I go in another direction and go to the gym, someone made me get a job offer. So there's another David Cozy, either married now or another David Cozy, a different job. Those are linear time branches. I don't think I would ever take a different direction and wake up in the world while I see Jamie Foxx flying around in with blue hair, but it's fantasy and it's Marvel. Time branch. It could be a time branch where Ned Leeds, his best friend, becomes evil. Because he is an evil character. He becomes an evil character. Hobgoblin in another world. Keeping the timeline where Vulture is back around and his daughter comes back and whoop his behind. Those are time branches. Because here's the thing: multi-universal stories work when you love the main Earth. When you love the center of the base of the Earth, then you regret any changes that happens. Honestly, the big thing about the Spider-Man films, the Marvel ones, I really don't, me myself, any changes with these main characters, I don't like none of them all. I mean, Betty Brant and, Ned, they're all cool. A gang are different like this one. But there's really no stakes in it. I'm really like, okay, and that's the weird thing, because with multi-universe, even in time travel, Back to the Future, if you've seen that movie, if you heard of it, man, check it out with Michael J. Fox, even though it's not multi-universe. The minute you do the family story with Michael J. Fox, you see the weight of his family and his beginnings and his interactions. That carries for the next two films. Even his love for, Doc and, his sidekick in the movies and they're going back in time and stuff. Anytime with his parents, you saw his parents fade from the photograph, from the choices that he did. It was not a scene. I knew the stakes. I don't want him to disappear. I don't want his mom to disappear. I don't want his dad to disappear. And I wanted him to put things back together and not interfere. That weight of that went through 3 movies. This one, people forget he's got Spider-Man. Okay. You don't only want a secret identity. So I think that's really weird. So when you do multi-universe, you just got this Spider-Man going to different Sony projects. He's going to meet Tobey Maguire, the better 2 Spider-Man films, and he's going to meet across the Andrew Garfield, their Spider-Verse. So it's the Sony-verse meets Walt Disney, and that's not multi-universe. There's no stage. Jamie Foxx, Dr. Ock, they don't even know who Tom Holland Spider-Man is. I would not look at him and say, oh, you don't look like Tobey Maguire and you don't look like Andrew Garfield. So I would not walk up to him and go like, hey, you're Peter Parker. I heard you're Peter Parker. And that's a big difference, from me. But I think that besides all that, my overthinking of it, because like I said, there was a secret, I was just telling someone, there was a secret 7 to me. I wanted Vulture. We saw Scorpion. We saw Glover has the Prowler, the Prowler in it already. I mean, you could have had Vulture's daughter come, knocking up. You had Shocker. You had the Tinker. Give me them. Because I've met them in the previous movie, and those stakes are more higher than, to me, Octopus or Sandman. Like I said, don't get me wrong; those are bigger names, I always say, and I know it brings people to the table of it. I don't certainly believe that none of this Sinister Six is, maybe Jamie Foxx was last, in another Spider-Man movie. But all of those actors are busy. Dr. Octopus, this was, the makeup and the special effects and the team to put on the weight of it. Sandman takes a lot of time. Maybe he's got some, he's probably, still doing some acting, but it takes a lot of weight to be a main actor with all that makeup. And, William Dafoe, I don't even, I just can't even imagine. Yeah. But I think that's a way of Marvel, quickly rushing, getting the Sinister Six. I would have loved for brand new actors to come across in the Marvel universe knowing they're going to be in 6 or 7 films. And that's the weird non-Marvel formula that they decided that they're not. Bucky Barnes from Captain America, Sharon Carter and all these people who was in the beginning days from the Marvel and has been there. There's long-term contracts. I don't want someone Green Goblin for one movie. We need Green Goblin is in the Spider-Man myth. We need someone who's going to be in it 4 or 5 films because Green Goblin is there. I want to, I'll get a brand new Electro. People that's going to be around for a few more films. But that's just me, But you got to put it, you got to put it together. But like I say, my big thing is, I hope it looks good. I plan on seeing it. Not dogging it out. I know it's one trailer, but I'm looking like, oh. But at the heart, it's got to have some heart.